back at it with the Oregon Power Sharp on the MS170. Just going to start clearing some stuff that's in the way. We should see it start going off pretty quick because you can see the timber's already split. A lot of dirt in there. So. Alright, the time has come. I'm going to sharpen it for the first time. So this chain did the cutting in that first video I had with it. I did a little bit off camera, that other log that should be in the beginning of this one and this bit here. So I've done 3/4 of a tank today with the cutting. So it's probably 2-ish tanks of fuel, I'd say. Now apparently, I've snapped this on the end. Apparently I hold it at full throttle, get it up to speed and depress it for 3 to 5 seconds. So I took a bunch of photos of what it looks like now, and we'll do that and we'll see what it looks like. It's going to be a weird experience. That was a strange experience. You never want to jam your bar into something and have sparks coming off it. But it has got it. Wow, okay, I'll get a bunch of photos of that and hopefully you guys can see them, and I'll get back to cutting this up. This is the inside of the sharpener having done it. You can see what it does to the stone inside. This is a strange experience, but gotta try it once. Alright, just to do something quick to finish off this video on the Power Sharp. I'm still continuing to use it. It's just living on this MS170. So far so good. There is a few strange things that I've noticed along the way. People that are looking to use this type of chain likely have no idea what I'm talking about with this, but it reacts a little like square chain when we're talking from a point of view of stability in the cut. It tends to wander off with small inputs. So if you're off a little crooked, it keeps going. The biggest issue I am having with it is that when it is cutting through trees with thick bark, the kerf is quite narrow, and what occurs is the top part of the chain gets caught up in that bark and starts getting dragged. So when I'm cutting, when I'm cutting with the lower part of the bar, I'm actually getting pushback pressure because the top of the chain is catching on that bark. So it's not very suitable for some types of trees. But for the most part, for everyday cutting stuff, it's working pretty well. I've only sharpened it the once. It sharpened up well. It does appear to take the top of the depth gauges when it's done, but I'll confirm that as things go on. I don't really like the bar. It is a little too long for this saw, honestly. And it's a bit flimsy. The very small nose radius makes it hard to do anything where you're cutting with the nose, which I tend to do a bit of. You cannot bore cut with it. Ignore the fact that I'm missing a bar nut. I lost one off another saw and robbed it off this. I'll have to go and buy a few more. In the background there, if anyone's interested, that's an 026 that you guys will probably see pretty soon. It's just been rebuilt. That's a Granberg filing joint, but a steel branded one. Something a bit different. Still wants an original packaging and all of that. I'll do some stuff for that later because I have some McCulloch manual stuff that deals with using one of them to square file with a double bevel file. So hopefully we'll look into that later. But yeah, so I'll keep going with this stuff and I'll post another update probably a month or two as I keep using it. So far so good. I honestly, for an occasional user, I cannot really see a fault in it. If you're using this to cut a little bit of firewood every year or just clean up branches and things that fall down around the yard, good option. Saves having to worry about learning to sharpen. It cuts very well. It holds an edge a lot better than I would have expected. Obviously the downside is the cost of the replacement chains. They're quite expensive because you need to buy that replacement sharpening stone for the sharpener. But you've got to weigh that up with how often you are actually using it. If you're replacing one chain every year or two, it's not really a deal breaker. If you're using this in a professional application, you wouldn't, because there's no point when you're changing a chain every 3 or 4 weeks. So yeah, it suits its purpose pretty well. So we'll leave it at that for today.